finally got rid of that damn cursed Blu-ray. Now all I gotta do is sit back, relax, and play some Cyberpunk 2077. Adam the OcCULTURE Critic here. I get scared and I don't care. And happy holidays, everyone! It is the reason for the season where we go into the deep, dark bowels of the holidays. And we, of course, start with a classic of the 1970s. I am, of course, talking of Black Christmas. This movie is directed by Bob Clark, as you will know, who later on to direct the pinnacle Christmas movie that some certain channel keeps playing 24/7 on Christmas Day, and it keeps annoying the shit out of me, and to the point where it's absolutely unbearable to watch, A Christmas Story. But here he gets his shot at the big time with a movie where it's about a group of sorority sisters who are being stalked by a killer who keeps giving them disturbing, very vulgar phone calls, and also having to deal with real-life situations like alcoholism, overbearing fathers, and abortion. Yeah, this is a real hard-hitting movie. This movie is great, and I am embarrassed to say I've not seen this before until recently. I knew about it. I knew about the remakes, especially 2006 one. That's the one that I knew about. I've seen the imagery, especially the image of Claire in the attic on the rocking chair with the bag over her face. Just, it's horrifying. It is a striking image that sticks with you. And I'm embarrassed to say I just recently watched it for the first time. And my God, I wish I had watched this before, because this is a damn good movie. This is a classic. This belongs on anyone's list to watch a scary Christmas movie. It's up there with Gremlins. It's up there with Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's honestly, I would say it's almost number one. That's how good I like this. That's how much I like this movie. And like I said, it's a hard-hitting movie because it came out a year after Roe v. Wade. 1 year after Roe v. Wade was passed. So the plot about basically our final girl wanting to have an abortion, it was still of that time, or it was still a topic at that time. So you have something that makes her relatable or very much real. And this was before the slasher boom. This was a precursor, along with Texas Chainsaw, a precursor to what we would eventually get in a slasher movie. And yet it's not your typical slasher movie. It's not. You don't have a overpowering serial killer. You don't have the crazy kills. You just have this movie with these real women and honestly quite possibly the most frightening situation during a time when things like this shouldn't be happening. That is what I love about this movie. And so where to start with this other than just the praise? Well, it stars Olivia Hussey, Keir Dullea of 2001: A Space Odyssey fame, Margot Kidder, and Andrea Martin, and the great John Saxon. It's amazing that I actually watched this movie not knowing John Saxon was in it when we sadly lost him this year. And I find it fitting this is the movie that I watch that I decided to watch because I love John Saxon in just about anything I've ever seen him in. Whether it's A-Team, Last Dragon, Nightmare on Elm Street, and now this. And honestly, if it's a slasher movie and John Saxon's in it, you know he's more likely a cop. But a damn good one at that. And the cast in this is really good. Like I said, these are real. These are real people that you believe. These are a real situation. This is a scary situation that they're all in, but it feels like it's plausible. This isn't, like I said, like this isn't a just, well, here's an urban legend. No, this is not an urban legend. This is just someone is stalking them and killing them one by one for whatever reason other than for his own sick pleasure. That's it. But you also have these other situations that they are in, whether it's, like I said, alcoholism with Margot Kidder's character Barb, who just, as the movie goes on, gets drunker and drunker and drunker as it goes, like to the point where she just explodes. And it's honestly scary. It's scary and kind of sad, especially when you know what's happened to Margot Kidder later on in her life. Not with her passing, but just how she ended up. And that's just something I'm not going to get into. But it is a scary situation. But she is really good in portraying it in this movie. Like, she's not a cartoon character. None of them are. And that's something, like, getting into the later movies is something I feel like is missing. It's like, these are real people. Whether you like them or not. I don't know how I can keep saying that. You got Olivia Hussey, who, as Jess, who is the final girl in this, who finds out she's pregnant with her boyfriend's baby, and she's going to have an abortion. She's planning on having an abortion. Like I said, this is a year after Roe v. Wade was passed. So this is something unique. This is something that you've never seen in a movie before, where a woman is making a decision like this. And it is handled very realistically, where she is saying, this is my choice. This is my choice only. And she's got a boyfriend who is very controlling, who believes that she is throwing her life away of motherhood, all because he didn't get a say in this. It's like, it's not his decision. It's not. This is hers. And to the point where he's a scary guy. He's a scary guy. He's, like I said, he's played by Keir Dullin, who, as you know, is Dave in 2001 Space Odyssey. So him playing a college student is a little weird, because I'm pretty sure he's pushing 40 at this point. He looks 40. And you see him slowly losing it. Like, he's becoming more and more unhinged in a way, to the point where you're kind of thinking maybe he's the killer, maybe he's the one killing them. But at the same time, you're kind of suspecting it's not him, just as you're putting the pieces together. But he's just slowly losing it. You get parts where he's proposing marriage just really out of selfishness. He's doing it because he doesn't want her to have the abortion. So if he marries her, she won't have the abortion. He's calling her a selfish bitch just because she's made this decision. He's calling her while he's drunk. He's destroying a piano when he was trying really hard to become a concert pianist. Just all this, and he never once sits down and says, I'm the problem. While something like, say, Twilight, I find absolutely it's impossible to believe that none of those idiots sat down and said, maybe I'm the issue. It's probably because, like, they're meant to be the heroes. And for me, when a hero encounters a problem and they have to sit down and address it, that's what heroes do. They have to acknowledge their faults. He's not doing that. He's not a hero. That's why it's believable, because he's not a good guy. And that's it. And that kind of goes with some of the other men in this movie. Is that they're different aspects of toxic masculinity. You have Peter, like I said, he is very controlling. He wants things his way. But because he's not willing to acknowledge that he can't control a woman, he loses it. You also have the first victim's father coming in, and he's this really big stick in the mud. He's looking for his daughter, who hasn't shown up to see him, and he says to the house mother, who I love in this movie. He says to the house mother, "I did not send my daughter to college to get drunk and chase boys." It's like, okay, well, first off, what the fuck did you do in college? Because I can guarantee you, you did those, your buddies did those things. And also, this is your daughter's life. She's not even a child anymore. She gets to make those decisions herself. And see, that's the thing about it. This is all about these guys showing up and trying to control a situation involving women. That is a lot of what it is. And that even goes for some of the guys who are the good guys, who are actually decent. They still have that just well of toxic masculinity in them. It's just they're conveying it indifferently. You have Claire's boyfriend, who is the first victim. Her boyfriend finds out that she is missing, and he goes into the police department half-cocked, ready to beat the shit out of the guy at the front desk, which honestly really needs to happen. and he's very much like trying to take control. He does kind of act a little interrupted towards Jess, like not to a bad degree. Like I said, he's not a bad guy. It's just he is very much that half-cocked guy who tries to take control of a situation, but doing it in a tough guy way. You have the cop at the front desk, Officer Nash. He's the one that you see in the footage. He's in the house. The calls are coming from inside the house. He's a complete idiot. He is one of those guys who will never, you got the girls telling them, our friend is missing. She is nowhere to be found. And he's going, oh, I want to worry about it. And he never puts two and two together. Another girl is missing. This one is missing. Calls are coming. Very vulgar, violent calls are being addressed to them at their own sorority house, and he never once goes, "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll take it seriously." No, he never does that, and it is so good whenever he gets his kind of comeuppance. Not that he dies. It's just when he gets what's coming to him by John Saxon. It is very satisfying. It is very, very satisfying that he always gets it handed to him. It's especially a scene where Margot Kidder, in a very subtle way, basically tells him to suck a dick. It is it's funny. It is incredibly funny, and and like I said, there are decent guys in this. Like John Saxon is probably the most decent. Like I said, he takes this seriously. He does his job seriously. He takes it seriously, and it is very much. And normally I would say it's like, oh well, let the girl handle it. No, it's his job. It's his job to make sure everyone is protected. That includes these sorority sisters. It's just some of them are already dead, and all you got is this one girl left. And holy shit, the tension, it builds up and it really works well, especially with John Saxon always missing the call traces. And it is really, really, intense, and John Saxon's just so good in this movie. He's really good. I love John Saxon in everything he's in. And that kind of goes into the next thing I want to talk about, which is Billy, the villain in this movie. I love slasher movies. I grew up with the big ones. I grew up with Michael. I grew up with Freddy. I grew up with Jason, Leatherface, those guys. Billy is probably hands down one of the best slasher villains of all time. Like, and it's not, and I'm not saying that because he was one of the first. I'm saying that because he is honestly one of the scariest. What makes him so effective, honestly, in my opinion, is that you never see him. You see his arms, you see like his eye. You can kind of see a shape, and this is kind of and like I said, he's a precursor to Michael. He's a precursor to Michael. I honestly, I do like this movie paved the way for Halloween. It's like ironic, isn't it? Christmas helped Halloween. Yeah, but Billy is terrifying because you don't get to see him. You don't know anything about him. Whereas like someone like Michael, you know enough. You know he is a mental patient. You know he is evil. You know this. With Billy, you know nothing. You just know that there's something off about him. You know that he seems to have this hatred for women, but you don't know where it's coming from. You don't know why he is stalking this particular sorority house, why he is harassing them, why he is threatening to kill them. And what's really good is there are subtle hints to just how dangerous he is. When you get that first phone call where he is like telling them to suck his cock, calling them cunts, all this, and then Margot Kidder just insults him. He like the tone goes from this nasty perverted voice to I'm gonna fucking kill you. And it's chilling. It is absolutely chilling. If you just notice the change in tone, that subtle change, it is absolutely terrifying. And what's great, and what's so great about this is that it's not one actor doing this. It's actually the director, Bob Clark, and someone else. Billy was played by more than just one person in this movie. And it seems like they really worked together to make sure there was some consistency with this character and not just, well, just do it your way. Do it your way. It just shows the effort they put in to making Billy someone memorable. You know what? No, not a someone, a something. Something memorable, something that will make you stay up at night wondering if he's in your own house. Like this guy, this thing represents that fear you could have when you're home alone, especially during the holidays. That fear that you're not particularly safe because you don't have someone there with you. You don't have like your family with you. You don't have anyone. And it's that fear that honestly kind of hits home. I wouldn't even say like, especially for women, but even I've had that anxiety. Hell, I spent Thanksgiving by myself, and I've had those moments where I'm just going, someone's in my house. It can be a real life horror movie when you're thinking that. Billy is just it's like, and it is a testament to the cinematography of making sure Billy is never properly seen. You never know who he is because you could be going, is it Peter? Is it Chris? Is it Mr. Harrison? Who is it? Is it John Saxon? Well, obviously not. But if it was, that would be a twist. It wouldn't make any damn sense, but it would have been. But no, we never get that. We never get this reveal of who he is. And it makes it even more terrifying, is that this guy exists. This guy is just there. He could be anyone on that campus. He could be the guy that points Mr. Harrison in the direction of the sorority house itself. And that's even scary, is that we might have actually seen his face in the movie, but we never know. And that is why I love this movie. This honestly hits home today as it would 40 years ago, almost 45 years ago. That is how scary this movie is. And like I said, the cinematography is great. The lighting, the mood, the atmosphere, you just know there is a sense of dread, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. When you think it's going to get better, when you think you're safe, when you think Jess is safe, it turns around and shows you're not safe. This thing exists, and it will keep coming. And the kills we get in this. There's a scene where I don't want to spoil too much. I mean, grant this is a 45-year-old movie. Chances are you've seen it, but there's a scene that involves Billy killing one of the sisters while Jess is downstairs listening to Christmas carolers, these children singing, and it is just this haunting, terrifying scene where you're seeing him murder someone while children are singing. There's always something about children in horror movies singing that really gets me. I think it's that combination of terror and innocence that really perverts what you would associate innocent imagery with. And I think that works. It works well in this, and it works in other horror films as well. But this in particular works really well. This is honestly one of my favorite scenes in horror film history. Like that scene sticks with me. It stuck with me last night because I'm going to tell you right now, I watched this movie twice. I watched it last night as well. And it gave me nightmares. I had a Black Christmas dream where it got bleak. And one other thing I want to say about this movie is something my dad pointed out, because he went to college too. He's been around sororities and fraternities. He pointed out something very funny about the sorority house and the Greek letters at the door of it, is that they're not sorority letters. They're not the letters of a sorority. It's not the name of a sorority. It's the name of a fraternity. And the fraternity in particular are the Pikes. The Pikes are basically the hard-drinking jock frat boys. They're the ones that when you see something like Animal House or Revenge of the Nerds or anything like that, that's typically what you associate the Pikes with. They're the ones that you immediately think of when you think of the hard party college jocks. They're the ones. And I want to say it's a coincidence, because when you're inside the sorority house, the letters are completely different. Those are of a sorority, but honestly, I don't think it is. I personally think it was intentional, because and I'll even go into this when I get to the 2019 Black Christmas, is that the Pikes are notorious. They are notorious partiers, and not they are. I mean, hell, when I was in college, the Pike chapter that we had always got complaints. There was always complaints about them, whether it was the noise complaints, the partying complaints, and most egregiously, the sexual assault complaints. These guys, like, whenever I heard about a sexual assault on campus, everyone immediately pointed their fingers at the Pikes. Immediately everyone said, this happened at a party at their fraternity house. And usually the evidence does point back to them, to the point where it got shut down because of those accusations. And among other things, there were some other things that ended up becoming a dangerous situation. But that was one of those in particular that put the final nail in the coffin for them to be shut down. Is because these guys are kind of not just assholes, they're scum. They were scum. And that's the thing. It's like, and finding out that the Pikes, this is a nationwide thing. This isn't just one campus that happens to be that bad. It's everywhere. It's like, it's almost every chapter of this fraternity all over the country. That's honestly even more scary. That honestly, to me, kind of makes that sign at the front of the sorority house kind of that more intentional. That kind of funny, honestly. My dad laughed when he noticed that. When he noticed that sign, he went, I know that sign, and that is not a sorority. So, just a little thing to keep an eye out on. It is a nice little tidbit. It's a nice little thing that probably a lot of people have not noticed, unless, well, you were in a fraternity and you happen to have been in that fraternity. So, yeah. With that said, I love this movie. This movie is great. It's a slow burn. It is a slow burn. It builds its tension up. My dad even talked about like how he felt it was a little boring. But honestly, for me personally, I was never bored. I never was, because I felt like it needed to give us the characters and not their backstories, but their characterizations, their personalities. We needed to know who each one was, where it was going to go, how their lives were going to crash before the bad end happens, and where this situation was going to go from here. And it felt the script in this, I think, is almost pitch perfect. It's on that level of, like, I would say Alien. Like, Alien to me is like that perfect script where there is hardly any real plot holes that you can like tear apart. To me, this is that script that really pays attention to detail and knows that, well, we got to keep it consistent, otherwise we lose our audience. That, to me, it makes this movie a classic. That this movie is well worth the watch every year on Christmas. With that said, I give Black Christmas 1974 a holly jolly 9 out of 10. This movie is meant for the ages. It means a lot now as it did 45 years ago. It really hits home, especially with the political climate of today. It helps bring flashbacks to people who actually lived through that era, and can even help open the eyes of those who haven't. This movie is well worth the price. Hell, I even got the Scream Factory Blu-ray. You can get it off of Amazon for about $20. You can even watch it on Shudder. It's playing there right now. If you got a subscription, I do recommend it. Black Christmas, to me, is one of the best Christmas horror movies. I absolutely love it, and it is in my top 10 Christmas horror films of all time. The killer is scary. The characters are either relatable or even likable. Not all of them, but some. And there are very funny moments in this movie that don't feel cartoony, but feel very real. And I would watch this every year. Hell, I got the Blu-ray, so of course I can. Well, that's it for me, guys. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments below. Hit that like and subscribe button. And please remember, I'm on the Slasher app at OcCULTure Critic. I'm Adam the OcCULTure Critic. I get scared because I don't care, and Christmas season is just beginning. And we'll return next time when we go with a less conventional remake of a classic I just talked about. Until then, y'all stay safe, wear a mask, and drink some eggnog, hot chocolate, whatever. I'm in Florida, so it's not that cold, but you never know. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.